Hey YouTube. Well, I'm just got through doing my Grubhub shift from 6 to 9. And I did 5 deliveries and I didn't have to travel far. I didn't go all over Atlanta. I didn't have to go from one end to the next. And actually at one point I was going back to the same restaurant twice. I did 2 restaurants and I went back twice. And it was not even a mile. So that was pretty good. And the guarantee was $30 minimum. So based on my calculations, $15 for the delivery fee, and I figured when I added the tips, I had some pretty good tips today. $5, $8, $4. Let me see, 42, 16, 20. So I think I made, I don't know. I'm gonna say if I had to take a guess, I would say I probably made. I would say I probably made almost $50. But let's say 45. But I'll tell you what it is exactly tomorrow. So that's a good thing. I almost felt kind of bad because I was in so much of a rush to get back to my car to deliver an item. There was I don't know if he was homeless, but it was a man. He was in a wheelchair. He didn't have any legs. And all he asked me to do was buy him some fish. Now, I was so much, first I said, What? What did you say? And I was so much rushing to get into the restaurant to pick up the food order. And then I came out, left again. I said, Now, what you ask me? And he says, can you buy me a piece of fish? And it was a restaurant right next door. So I was like, I said, I don't have anything. But then I went in my car and then I went back out of my car. And I was like, you know what? Now that is just plain selfish, Teresa. You gonna tell that man you didn't have anything and I had all these money in my car. So I went inside and I said, well, I looked at the restaurant, looked at what they had. So I was like, So I said, do you want a bigger order rather than just getting 2 pieces of fish and some little skimpy sides that they had? I had got him something else. I said, well, would you want maybe vegetable fried rice? Because it was like a bigger tray, more food. So I had got him some food. And it was hot. And I told them, then I went back outside and I had got 2 cups of water. And I gave him a cup of water. And then we chit-chatted for a little bit. And he asked me what I do. And I told him that, well, I don't really have a job. But I said I deliver food for Uber Eats and another company, Grubhub. So he said, "Oh, someone was telling me about that Uber. They give you a car." I said, "Well, no, it's like a lease. You lease the car, and I said, "Oh no, I don't lease my car." But the fact that he's shown genuine interest in what I did and asked me what I was doing, and so then I chatted for him for a little bit. And then I said, okay, well, and I did ask him, can he watch my car while I went inside? Even though I don't know, I wasn't really parked properly in a sense, you could say. So I know I saw that man before, but though at Atlanta, I don't know. I think I've seen him before. And so I went there, picked up the meal, and gave him the meal that I purchased for him. And I told the people in the restaurant, if you could let him in, he's a paying customer. So if he needs to come in, let him come in. Because, they tend to not want people to come in their restaurant or whatever. But I said, I purchased his meal. And if he wants to come in, let him come in. So I went inside, we chatted, and then it was like, it's kind of cold. I told him, why don't you go inside? Just go inside and eat your meal. Because it was kind of chilly out here. It's not cold, but it was a little bit chilly. But I had then I got got called back to the same restaurant after I had delivered some food that was like what up the street, not even far. And I came back and see if he was still there, and he wasn't there anymore. So I guess he must have left. But that got me to thinking. Now, I don't just help people on the streets because it's a holiday or Thanksgiving. I do something like that all year round. And I find myself lately, when I'm going through the city of Atlanta and I'm going through certain neighborhoods that I've known has gone through this major gentrification process. I've lived in Atlanta since '96. So I've seen how a lot of these neighborhoods changed in these last 20 something years. And now that so many people lived in these neighborhoods, because I used to live in them, and then they get displaced and nowhere to go. So Atlanta has a high homeless rate, and people are struggling. But with all these economic booms that's going on in this city of housing, it's like housing is almost very scarce in Atlanta. A typical rent is like in Atlanta itself, it's almost like $900,000 for 600 square feet. Ridiculous. And a lot of people can't afford to even live in the city. And then they move way out in the suburbs, way out in cities where most of them don't have a car. Most of them have to rely on public transportation. And then it got me to thinking. I've been thinking about this for the last few months when I first started doing Uber. And I had even discussed it with a couple of passengers that I used to pick up passengers. And I said I was going to write me a book about this process of the gentrification and the ride sharing companies, and just through the eyes, I guess, I don't know, through the eyes of Uber and what I see through it out the city. And that just got me to thinking of a project that I want to do. Now, I'm not going to say it right now because it's a lot. So I'm going to bring it up to, I'm going to post it to some of y'all, to my plans, and then you ask and tell me what you think. Now, I don't have a lot of subscribers, but I watch a lot of y'all videos. Toya and